Hi everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to make a cover, and this particular cover is for my Prima Christmas in the Country album. However, I'm going to post it separately in my Design Basics as well, so that, not Design Basics, but Construction Basics, because we do this in almost every single project I make just this way. So rather than record it and show it to you every single time the same thing, I'm going to try just referring you to, hey, when it comes time to make your cover, just watch this video, make it just like this video, just in the interest of trying to save some time in the videos. If you don't like that, let me know down below and I'll keep putting it in every video. If the cover is ever slightly different in any way or a different design, of course, I will show you how to do it in the project. So I'm going to give you measurements today, but these measurements are specifically for this Christmas in the Country album. If you're making another album, I'll mention how you should adjust your measurements. So what you're going to need, this particular album is going to be vertical. It could work the same for horizontal, but this one's vertical. You need a front and a back. And I make my fronts and backs about 1/2 inch, almost always a 1/2 inch, larger than the finished size of my page. So if I'm making a 6x6 book, I'll make my cover 6.5 by 6.5. And you know, whatever measurement, just add a 1/2 inch is how I do that. Then the way that you decide on the width for your spine, there's a couple of ways you can do it. One is just make and decorate all your pages, stack them up, measure how much you think you'll need. The other way, and this is how I usually do it, I'm looking for my scrap that might have my measurements on it. Here it is. All right, so this method, let me grab a pencil. What I do is I know I want 2 inches on either side of my pages to go across my binding and onto the front and back to secure the binding. And then I have 4 pages with a 1/2 inch up and a 1/2 inch down, right? So each of these will be, folded in, and they won't really count on the width of the measurement. You'll need that for the width of the piece of paper that you're making your binding, but not for how wide your actual spine needs to be. So what I know I want is a 1/2 inch, and then I want a page, a 1/2 inch and a page, a 1/2 inch and a page, a 1/2 inch and a page, right? So that means I have a 1/2 inch here and a 1/2 inch between each of the pages and a 1/2 inch here, right? So that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1/2 inches. Okay, so that means I have 2 1/2 inches equals an inch, right? And I have 5, so that means I have 2 1/2 inches, and that's how big my spine needs to be. All right, so that's what I have now for this book. And I have used the full score tape sheets to cover the backs of my chipboard. It's medium weight chipboard, and I do cut mine on my paper trimmer, but I have a dedicated paper trimmer that I only cut chipboard with. If you don't have that, then I would use maybe a good sharp craft knife and a metal ruler or something like that, because you'll wreck your paper trimmer if you trim chipboard on it. Okay, and I don't mind because, as I said, I have a one that I only cut chipboard with. Now, your paper, what you need, let me take this. You need a piece that is 2 inches taller than your book. Okay, so if your pages are going to open this way, then it needs to be 2 inches taller, an inch here and an inch here. Mine's going this way. All right, then you need a piece that's an inch wider at either end. Let me put this down. Okay, so you're going to need an inch, the width of your front cover, 1/4 inch, the width of your spine, 1/4 inch, the width of your back cover, and then an inch. Typically, I will just take a full 12-inch wide sheet, cut it to the right height, and then trim it later. Okay, and I do like my seam to be right centered on my spine. So that's how we're doing it. There are plenty of other ways you can center it on the back. And if I'm doing a book where I'm going to do that, I will show you how to do it. But for this one, we're doing our basic spine. I like to use art glitter glue to join my pieces. I like the flexibility that it has over score tape for this, but you can use score tape. I do recommend, if you are using score tape, that you use the narrowest, maybe 1/8 inch. So you're just running a thin bead of glue. I line up the bottom of this paper on one of the lines on my craft board, and then I will line up this piece with this line just to get it reasonably straight. Whoop, could have overlapped it just a little more. And again, just like that. Burnish that really well. And then turn it over. I am using artisan cardstock from Country Craft Creations for this. All right. Now, I like to start with my spine. So I'm going to grab a little sharp tool so that I can pull the back off of that. And I want a clear ruler, which I'm looking for. All right, I'm going to use my Tim Holtz. And I'm just going to lay it down so that I have 1 inch up from the bottom. Okay, you can eyeball all this if you feel comfortable with that. All right. Just removing the back from the score tape, which can be challenging. And just make sure you've burnished it really well. If it really won't come up, you probably have not burnished it enough. Okay, and then I have a little overlap, so I'm just going to burnish that down. There we go. And this piece for the book, I believe I've already told you, is 2.5 by 9 for the Prima Christmas in the Country project, which is a design team project for Country Craft Creations. So let's put that down just like that. Okay. Burnish that well. We're going to turn it over and burnish from the other side as well, but we'll wait till we get the other pieces. All right, then after I put that piece down, I'm going to put down 1/4 inch piece of score tape on either side, right up against the spine. This is really just to help you gauge the distance for the other pieces, so you don't have to I mean, you want to get it on there straight because that part's important, but I'm just gonna tear it. You know, it's a little short at each end, but that's fine because it's not actually that important in the construction. And if you prefer to eyeball this distance, then by all means do so. And if you, I was going to say if you prefer it narrower, make it narrower, but I'm sorry, that's my microphone cord. You risk cracking your cover when you don't leave enough space. And artisan cardstock really doesn't crack very much, but one thing that might make it is not leaving enough space. Okay, so I'm just burnishing that a little bit. And now we'll take one of our larger pieces. And again, I'm going to place that ruler there. And you can use whatever adhesive you like when you're making covers. You don't need these big sheets. I like them because they're really fast and make the project, making the cover process go quickly. But use whatever adhesive you like. Sometimes I'll just use score tape all the way around and then Fabri-Tac in the middle. That works. Okay, now I've got my ruler and I am laying this down awkwardly. Whoop. And the most important thing at this point is that these be straight in relationship to each other. If they're a little cockeyed on the paper, that's fine. You're going to fold it all over anyway, but they need to be straight. This line here needs to be straight with each other, okay? So at this point, I'm not even going to worry about how it looks down here, although it does look nice and straight. And I'm just putting my ruler up against these two, and I'm going to put the next piece down as it relates to them. And let's turn that over and burnish. Okay. All right. Now. All right, so the next step, this is actually a little bit more than an inch, but I'm not worried about that. That's fine. I like to miter my corners. So let me just go ahead and put this pin in here. So what we need to do is cut at a 45-degree angle each of these corners, and you want to leave a space that is about the same width as your chipboard. And I found that the Tim Holtz ruler actually is that width. I generally eyeball it, but if you don't want to eyeball it, and I don't blame you if you don't, then you want to just go ahead, take your Tim Holtz ruler, lay it there, and just draw a line. And I am estimating my 45-degree angle. You can use a line on your board if you prefer. You can do that. And if you've watched many of my videos, you know I typically just eyeball that corner. Okay. There we go. And then we're going to cut. Make sure it's under the camera. Didn't cut that very straight. Okay. Okay, just like that. Then I just like to lift and fold over and you can do it like that, just to get it started going the direction you want. And you can put your tape down first if you prefer, but I generally do it at this point. Okay. And you can use your bone folder if you like to really get those corners up. Sorry if the camera's shaking. I'm pushing pretty hard so my table's shaking. Okay, there we go. All right, now you want to take your tape, and I prefer 3/8 inch for this. And I'm opening a new package. Sorry if that was obnoxiously loud. Okay. Right. And what you can do at this point is pull up these just so they're out of the way. And then run your tape all the way around the cardboard and the cover. And actually, I probably should have done this before I cut my corners, just because it's easier. You don't have to try and angle the tape. There we go. Okay. All right. Over. Okay. And let's see, I just want to angle this a little bit. Okay. This is a big cover, so I hope you can see. And last one. And once you've made quite a few of these, you can get one put together in about 15 minutes, I find. 15-20 minutes. Maybe even less. Okay. Okay, there we go. And let's go ahead and burnish. Get rid of that ruler, and that scissor rather. Turn it this way. Now we're going to do the long sides first. I'm going to start with this side. Sorry that my microphone cord is probably showing, but one of these days I'll get a wireless one. Oh, it looks like I didn't burnish that very well. All right, and you don't need to put any glue at this point, but I generally put just a little bead along there. Hopefully that was coming out. I can't see it from where I'm at. Yeah. Okay, and then I start with the middle, pull it over really well. I want it nice and tight. You can use your bone folder if you need to. And you want to work from the middle to the outside so you can work any bubbles out. You don't trap them in it. Okay. And probably should take usually I peel up these little sides, but I forgot. Even though we're not doing that side yet, we'll just get it out of the way. Okay, and then we're going to do this side. Okay. Oops, almost forgot my glue. Let's do that. Again, you're going to start in the middle, just pull it over and work your way to the end, working out any bubbles as you go. And you really want to make sure these are nice and tight against the edges of your chipboard. Now, before you do this end, you need to tuck in these little corners. I hope you can see that. You see right here where the diagonal goes up and off the corner there, and it comes out. So you just want to tuck that in, and you can do it by hand. I usually will use a bone folder or my scissors or something like that. Some sort of tool is usually easier, although your fingernails can work like that. Okay, just get it tucked in. And I just used my fingernail for that one. And let's use our glue. I feel like I got that one tucked in a little too far, but no, it'll be fine. So just use your bone folder to make sure it's up nice and tight. And pull it over again, starting in the middle, and just work your way to the corner and work your way to the corner. There we go. And then I just rub the bone folder there. So you can see we got a good corner there. It's a little clunky there, but that's okay. And I'm just going to tuck this corner in with my fingernail. And this one. Okay. And pull that over. And there we go. Nice, smooth, mitered corners. Okay, you can do them square if you prefer. This is how I generally do them. All right, and then pull this over. Once you've done that, you just want to work it very gently. You want to get your bone folder in there like this larger one for this, because you're less likely to poke right through the paper. And just gradually work. You want to get this down in against that adhesive that's there. Okay. And just bend your cover up. Okay. Okay. Let's get that there. Go. Okay, and there we have a cover. Let's go. All right. Now, depending on the book that you're doing, you may fully line your cover. You may only line this area, or you may not line it at all. You know, it just depends on the particular book that you want to make. But this is how you make your basic wrapped cover. Okay. I hope you find this helpful. And again, I'm going to be including this footage at the beginning of the Christmas in the Country Prima album, Design Team Project for Country Craft Creations, which I'm working on right now, but I'm also going to post this as a separate piece of footage for how to make covers in my Construction Basics series. All right, but if you're making Christmas in the Country, we are going to move along with our next step, which is going to be making our binding. But if you're just watching this because you need it for another project, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.